Hi, this is Bolade Ola-ojo for the Bolade Ola-ojo show, the BSuper experience. I would like to take a very quick second to thank all our viewers for watching, subscribing, liking, and sharing our videos. We cannot have done this without you, so we thank you so much. We want to appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. We believe we're on the right track to becoming one of the world's largest platforms for positive entertainment, and we can't do it without you. So please, at the bottom of the screen, there's a link to a survey. We'd like you to just click on the link and complete a very short survey giving us feedback on what you think about our videos. If you haven't seen any one of our videos, there's also going to be a link at the bottom of the screen that leads you to a playlist of all our videos. Please check it out. We would love to hear back from you. And to all our interviewees that have been on the show, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for being a superhero in your own respective ways. Again, please, people, click on the link below to complete a very short survey giving us feedback on what you think. And remember, not all superheroes wear capes. Are you a superhero? Thank you. Have a good one. Hello guys, Bolade Ola-ojo back again. Second segment of the financial month, in the month of December 2015. We spoke to Mr. Todd earlier about budgeting and savings. Now let's talk about expenses and student loans. Student loans, I have a lot of student loans, but let's talk to him about it. Alright, first question. How do you cut down on your expenses? Let's talk about expenses first. How do you cut down on your expenses? Good question. A question we hear a lot. I think when you say how, which things do we cut down on? What expenses to cut out? Because you can cut out in a lot of different areas. So it all goes back to what we were talking about before, with setting your financial goals. Once you have your goals, once you know the things that are important to you, look at all the things that you spend money on that aren't on that list of important things. And that's where you start, when you start kind of cutting down expenses. Also knowing the difference between what wants are and what needs are is very important. And actually that leads to the second question, because that's prioritizing expenses. So once you do the wants and needs, it's kind of like prioritizing. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Go ahead. Yeah. So figuring out once you know what your goals are, what you're trying to get to, looking at the things that aren't a part of that short list and cutting those things out. Personal story, at one point in time I would go to, like many entrepreneurs, you go to Starbucks, sit down and you work, and when you're in there sometimes you feel obligated to go grab a cup of coffee or pastry, and I would go, you're in there for a long time, you grab a few cups of coffee, grab a few pastries. Well, after a month I went back and looked over my financial lane, and I saw that I was spending all this money on coffee. Those $3 add up really, really quickly. And I don't even like coffee. I'm not even a big coffee. Well, I am now. I'm hooked now. But I'm hooked now. But back then, I didn't even like coffee that much. So that was something that was easy for me to look at and cut out of my monthly expenses. Also, you can also look at your fixed expenses. And some of your fixed expenses, some of the things you pay for monthly that a lot of times you don't even think about, because a lot of times the money just automatically comes out of your account or automatically comes out of your paycheck, are things you don't really need. I think something that a lot of our generation is starting to learn is that cable, the huge cable package, a lot of times you don't really need that huge cable package. You pay your $8 for Netflix or for Hulu, and that's all you really need. Or look around at your apartment. Is there a room you never even walk into in your house or your apartment? Maybe it's time to look at downsizing some of those things. So relating this to loans, and we're going to talk more about loans. Yeah. How do you then cut down on your loans? Because day and age now, everybody's telling you to get a credit card, get a this, get a that. How do you cut back on all of that? As far as your loans are concerned, a lot of that, if you're talking about just not swiping that card, a lot of that's where that accountability and support piece comes in, because you have all these systems out there, all these people out there who are trying to get you to buy all these things. And it takes some willpower, and it takes some people behind you to support you and not swiping on things that you don't care about and things that you don't need. But when we're talking about loans, and a lot of times we're talking about paying down loans, and, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. That's a very personal topic when it comes to it. And we're talking about helping eliminate some of that debt and paying that off. One thing that we have to look at is, what are we paying off and when are we paying it off? And I know a lot of people, you have student loan debt, you see that big number, that's the first place where you get some extra money. Let me pay down the student loan debt faster and faster and faster. Side note, just before you continue, most of the questions actually came
with student loans, most of our fans were asking us, yo, you gotta ask them, how do I pay off this student loan? So please, you need to go into this.
Okay. So specifically when looking at student loans, you see this huge number there, and you say, this is when I get some extra money, this is the first thing I'm getting rid of. I need to get this number down. And the problem is that's not the best financial strategy. As a person who's a banker, you know that's not the best strategy, just throwing it at the biggest debt. But what you really have to look at is the interest rates on your different types of debt. So if you have a student loan, they're charging you 6%, and you have a credit card that may only be, maybe it's $1,000 on the credit card, $50,000 on the loan, but that credit card is charging you, 17, 18%. The natural inclination is pay down this $50,000 debt, don't worry about this $1,000 credit card. But in all reality, that $1,000 on a dollar basis is actually hurting you more because you're paying 17, 18% interest as opposed to 6% interest. So really when you're paying down debt, you're supposed to order it by interest rate, take care of those ones with the highest interest rate. Those are the ones that are hurting you the most. And then you can start to add those extra payments to student loans. Now you still need to make your minimum payments. Still need to make your minimum payments. But when we're talking about putting extra money to pay down that principal faster, you need to go to those higher interest rate debt before you go to your low interest rate.
So cutting down your expenses, you have to first of all, do that financial planning thing, the budget thing, and see what is where you're spending more money on, what you're spending more money on that doesn't fit to who you are. Yeah. Then cutting those off, and then you streamline your expenses. Then when it comes to loans or your student loans, prioritize based on interest rates, and then pay off the bigger ones first.
The higher interest
rate. Well, pay off the minimum payments of all of them,
of course. Yeah.
And then but try to take care of the bigger ones. And then just chucking down out of the way. Now, one thing I get a lot of people that and I'm speaking for myself, and people that know, like from my country and stuff, from Nigeria. One big thing is they advise you in the bank to get credit cards because you need to build credit. But it seems like getting credit is a bad thing. So, what's up with that dynamics? Because you need to get credit to build credit, right? But then if you get credit, it's about what's the balance there?
And the balance is the distinction. The distinction is between having credit available to you and using the credit that you have. So in this day and age, having credit and building credit is important. So you do need to have a history of paying bills on time. But what a lot of people do is a smart move where you don't need credit to, for anything. What they do is they'll get a credit card, have their Netflix bill on that credit card, chop the card up, never use it again, and continue to pay that $8 a month on that credit card, and it builds up their credit. So you need to have a history. They need to know that you exist, as far as credit is concerned, that you've done it well. Also, it's important to have credit available. So it's one of those things where if somebody's going to give you a loan, they want to see that you have been able to obtain loans from other places, and that if something happens, you can tap into some of those other credit sources. So having available credit is important. Now the problem is when you have available credit and then you're using up all that credit. So if you have $50,000 in available credit or $5,000 and you used up 90% of that credit, which means you only have a very small amount of available credit left. And that's the distinction. How much credit you have available to you, how much of a history you have of paying things on time versus having credit cards and swiping them every day and using up all that credit.
So in 2016, what would be your biggest financial advice for our viewers?
Biggest financial advice in 2016 is write down your goals. This is not just your financial goals. Write down your goals for life. That's just general life advice. Figure out, what you want, what your goals are, and what you want. At that point where you write down your goals, it's very important that you don't go the path alone. That you find some people who are around you, find some people that care about you to help you in your financial path and your financial goals. The problem with that is a lot of people, personal finance is a very personal thing. A lot of people don't want to share their money problems with their family or their friends or people who know them. So you have a lot of people with financial issues going alone, going through them in isolation. It's a very, depressing, stressful thing. So if you go to family and friends or people, find people who are there to support you and who you can build a team to help you reach these financial goals through steps like budgeting, through setting up different accounts, through using technology. And that's the reason why we created our company. That's why we do what we do, because we know people need help and support from our coaches and from their peers, and we set up that infrastructure around it so that they can be successful financially.
How can people find you? How can people connect with you for financial aid? By the way, guys, this gentleman has taught us about budgeting, about savings, about expenses, and also he has taught us about loans, how to clear our loans. It's worth following such people like this. And like you mentioned, you can't go to your family. If peradventure you can't go to your family to get the support. Such companies like his and like your financial aid is a very instrumental company that you need to get yourself financially free and become financially savvy. So tell us, how do we find you, connect with the financial aid? How do we follow you and all that stuff?
We're on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, look for Your Financial Lane. And even easier, if you go to our website, www.yourfinanciallane.com. All our social media links are on there and all the information about what we do, how we do it, the programs that we're running right now for business clients and for individual clients to help them get the financial lane. It's all up there.
So now, lastly, can you tell our viewers to right there, can you tell our viewers to watch the Bolade Ola-ojo show?
Watch
The
Bolade
Ola-ojo
show. BSuper. BSuper.
Thank you, Mr. Todd.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Bolade Ola-ojo for the BSuper experience. I'm actually going to get closer so I can give you the latest scoop of what's going to happen in 2016. 2015 was our pilot year, and it was crazy. It was a great year. We launched out in September 2015. And we launched out with a couple of videos of coverages that we did for events such as Fest Africa 2015, the Urban Marketplace, and a couple of interviews that we did here and there, and it was fantastic. The kind of feedback we received in 2015, crazy. As a matter of fact, our fan base has exponentially grown, and as a result of feedback and comments from friends, fans, and even some of our enemies, we decided to take it to the next level in 2016, and an explosive dimension in 2016. I mean, we're doing things like interviews with local and international celebrities. So if you're a business owner and you would like to advertise on our show for 2016, please contact us. Here's the email. Contact us and let us know, and we can discuss the opportunity on having your ad on the webisode. We have each month of 2016 is going to be themed. So we have like business month, small business month, fitness month, motivational month, food month. Oh yes, food month. And then we're traveling. We're going to be traveling a lot in 2016 to cover places that we've never been, to interview people, to cover some events. It's going to be crazy. 2016 is going to be explosive. So you really want to stick with us in 2016. And if you haven't seen any one of our videos, also on our YouTube channel, which there's a link at the bottom of the screen, click on the link and it'll take you to our playlist. You can see all our videos that we posted in 2015, and you can be part of us in 2016. So guys, we want to encourage you to be our friend, to be our follower, to be our fan, to be our critique, to be everything to us, because we're in this together. Remember, we are trying to build a platform one of the world's largest platform for positive entertainment, and we cannot do it without you. So we need you to follow us, to be part of us, so we can take 2016's experience to the next level. And remember, as always, not all superheroes wear capes. So the question is, are you a superhero? All right, have a good one, guys. And this is Bolade, ola-ojo. Thank you so much. Peace out.